A week into the Keepers League, I realized nobody was playing Saboteur and Ruthless solo self-found. Literally nobody, only 2 players. The highest one being level 69, meaning he probably just finished the campaign and then quit with no exploration into the endgame. So I decided to give some love to all the Saboteur players out there and take this underrated class all the way to the top. And nothing could have prepared me for the build that no one has talked about or played and that I was about to be forced into. But say hello to Saboteur number 1. And I'm not just playing Ruthless solo self-found because of the lack of Saboteur players. In fact, it's my go-to mode these days, since not only is it harder, but drops feel much more impactful with unique and support gems being much more rare. I've gone full campaigns without ever seeing a single unique. And fast forward a few hours when I beat Kitava, and yes, that does make me the number 1 Saboteur in the world for this mode currently, but it's not over yet. And I have a total of 2 uniques, a sword that I'm not using, and a hat that does not give me much besides the chance for it to drop fishing rods, which I just had on for the love of the game. But no fishing rods yet. And I'll let you in on a secret that you would only know if you've maxed out a Ruthless character before. High tier Ruthless is pretty much solo self-found. It's incredibly hard to get high tier uniques that you need, and they're all pretty absurd prices or haven't dropped at all. Base Ruthless is good if you're just getting your foot in the door, since you can pick up some gear to fill out your resistances and kickstart your journey, but to be honest, I find solo self-found way more enjoyable since I know I would have to be farming my own endgame gear regardless, as well as I don't have to compete with people boosting each other on the leaderboard, which makes what I do and drop truly matter. And I played through the majority of the campaign with Pyroclast Mine, but the more and more I played with Pyroclast Mine, although it was super strong in the low tiers and I did easily clear the campaign and beat Kitava without any support gems. Maybe I should have named this video, "Can you beat pathofexile with only 0 links?" because been there, done that. But it became increasingly obvious that I needed minefield support or some other way to support me not just throwing 1 mine at a time. And here's the early game skill tree if anyone's interested. I wouldn't recommend taking this into standard. There's plenty of other people with better builds for standard, and Ruthless builds, especially solo self-found, are more dependent on what you get dropped more than you want to go. And as you will see, everything is about to change. Because with my increasingly lackluster DPS without supports to give multiple mines, when I got the Locus mine support, this was my oasis in the middle of the desert, or I guess forest in this case, and I knew I had to swap my build. One problem though, Locus does not support Pyroclast and only very specific wander bow attacks, turning them into mines. And then it hit me. One of the top tier activities in previous versions of the game was 5 waves, where people get boosted by a dude with a Headhunter, Nimbus, and Kinetic Blast. And I don't have access to a Headhunter right now, and the Nimbus ring is currently and typically one of the most expensive items in the game, with the main mechanic of having your projectiles fire in random directions and then having them return to you. And incredibly recently, in 3.26 Secrets of the Atlas, Saboteur got a rework where he just got that for free. No need to spend more currency than the average player ever receives, just slot 2 ascendancy points and Shrapnel Specialist. And no one's talking about this. There's some Reddit posts throwing around the idea of Lotus and other various gems, and everyone just kinda uses Power Siphon because of the auto target. But even though roughly 10% of all players in Path of Exile right now are running Kinetic Blast, a total of around 9,000 characters in base keepers alone, and that's not even counting the 7% that are running Kinetic Blast of clustering, 0 of them are running Locus support. And there's a handful of Saboteurs running Shrapnel Specialist and Kinetic Blast, but no Locus mines, and they're all pretty high level, and they're onto something. And after respecking and warming up to the build, it works. It absolutely works. My slow crawl from a single Pyroclast and now 3 mines shooting 2 exploding projectiles that can also return to me. If you thought basic Kinetic Blast was hectic with its screen clearing, imagine if there's 3 of you. And I started flying through maps, and only a few hours later I was top 10 for solo self-found Ruthless on the Shadows leaderboard. Which is cool, but I was really intrigued by this build, and I didn't want to just end this video by saying, oh hey, cool build, might be good for standard. I wanted to know for sure. So I did the last thing that I wanted to do and played the campaign again. Fresh character just on base Keepers League to see how well this would actually fare in an environment that most people play in. And after a few hours and beating Kitava, when Kirik asked me to run a tier 1 white map, I happily picked it up, but bought and slotted a tier 16 red map instead. And on my level 72 character, I took on this tier 16, one of the hardest endgame activities, and I was able to successfully clear it despite the Maven's best efforts to stop me from locking the map device, which I'm sure Kirak was surprised about.
You found the Maven.
And my build isn't optimal at all. I have the campaign health potions I picked up along with my mana potion that I got at the very start of the game. My shoes were a gift from my buddy to make my campaign leveling faster. And other pieces of gear I was able to just pick up for super cheap, and I would honestly replace them when I get to a higher level. And I know this build is unlikely to break any records, and Deadeye with the bonus projectiles and whatnot still might have the upper hand, but this is probably my new favorite way to play, and I prefer this way more than basic Kinetic Blast. And when next season rolls around, assuming nothing big changes, I'll likely break out the path of building and really optimize this and set together a league start guide with this or with Locus mines in general. So if you have any more ideas on how to optimize this build, I would love to hear it. But thank you for watching, and I will see you in Rayclast.